Dear Almighty Neesonness, I know that I am not a fan of animated films, and you know that as well. I know that you're in this.
I have spoken. You must review this film.
I'm sorry, Nieces Pieces. I didn't mean to call you out. But please, I'll throw in some really weird, dumb comedy skit for my next review, I promise. Just please. I don't like animated films. I don't want to review this movie.
I need you to go see this movie. Review it, right away. I'm in it.
I know, Almighty Neeson, you are in this. And if you command it, consider it done. May the Neeson be with you. May your daughter never get kidnapped again. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of MP27 Reviews. Today I'm reviewing The Lego Movie. Now, this is an interesting film for a lot of you who are probably watching this because you all know that I'm not exactly a huge fan of animated films. In fact, one of the last ones I saw willingly in theaters was... I don't remember. So, this film is an interesting one because it's not like just Legos, like, you know, Lego Star Wars and all that, where they move smoothly. This film immediately caught my attention because ultimately the Legos all move like stop motion. I felt like bringing that up before the story because I will let you know the first, like, maybe 5 minutes of this is actually kind of jarring where they're going. And you're sitting there going, I don't know if I like this. And then you end up buying into it about, I don't know, 2-3 minutes in, and you're along for the ride, and it's awesome. So the Lego Movie is about one guy, Emmett. He's really ordinary and boring and drab, dull, anything you can think of that goes along those lines. So it turns out he might be called the Special, and the Special has the ability to save all of the Lego world as we know it. And we have our cast, and as you know, there is one reason why I saw this, and it's because of my personal favoritism towards the actor Liam Neeson. And yes, Liam Neeson was one of the things that stole the show in this film. Surprisingly enough, Will Ferrell also stole the show for me, and I've never been a huge Will Ferrell fan, except for Blades of Glory, Talladega Nights, Anchorman, Anchorman 2. Okay, so I've been a fan of Will Ferrell, I suppose. And he did great in this film. He played the bad guy perfectly. President Business. And this film sounds really, really kiddie on the surface, but it has so much heart that you're sitting there going, wow, that is a lot of heart. And it's funny. And a children's movie that isn't, well, actually it is random. Sorry, I was about to say and random. And wholesome. It's so random. It is the ADD era as we know it, and they kind of make fun of it. I'd like to think of this as a satire of society today. And you know what? I just want to say, Lego Wonder Woman, like literally the Lego, already a better casting than Gal Gadot. And they brought in Batman and Superman, and I gotta tell you, Batman, played by Will Arnett, is awesome. When he shows up, you're just sitting there going, Batman! It's, you know what's funny is that I was sitting there going, I'm not gonna get another Batman movie until Batman vs. Superman with Lex Luthor being terrible. Batman vs. Superman. But instead, I got my Batman movie because this movie has so much Batman in it. He shows up and he's just like, hey, I'm Batman and I'm awesome. I'm pretty sure that was a line in the films. Back to his Neeson-ness. Liam Neeson was fantastic as good cop, bad cop, where he'd actually like spin it. You know, like when you used to play with the Legos that had several like sides to the head? He's one of those, and his head would spin, so he'd rotate between, oh, I'm happy to, where's the bomb? Where's my daughter? My identity's stolen, and I'm gonna fight wolves. That was so cool because he was kind of the bad guy, and so he's chasing our heroes down. And you see Liam Neeson doing Liam Neeson things. Like, I could actually picture Liam Neeson doing all this in my head, strangely enough. Liam Neeson doing Liam Neeson things that were awesome. And some of the fight scenes, like, just the visuals with the fights were so cool and immersive, the way the camera swooped around the Legos. And everything literally was made out of Legos. There was like explosions, and it would be those little fire things that you got with your Legos, and then like smoke would be these white Legos. It was amazing, the level of detail in terms of Legos that they did. There were times that there were close-ups that I sat there and said, is that real Legos? Because it kind of looks like it. I gotta say, you know, for an animated kids movie, which I've never been a huge fan of, I really liked it. My big complaint is it drags. I'm not quite sure why, but the movie drags on quite a bit entering the third act. But there is something in the third act that really has so much heart that you're sitting there going, wow, I feel really like, I don't know, just they address some things about life, and you sit there and go, this really feels important type thing, and it's touching. And I was really glad to see that they did that, because there was a lot of that kind of just silly humor, but this really just kind of grounded it a little bit, where it's like, okay, you guys have had your laughs, now take a moment to see what we have to say. And it was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. But it's still, you know, the second and going into the third act was really, really slow, where I'm sitting there going, okay, we could cut 10 minutes out of this movie and it'd be perfectly fine. Because it is a 2-hour-long movie. And wow, yeah. It's pretty long. It feels like maybe 2 hours, 20 minutes, and it's about 2 hours. So that's got to dock it down a few points. I feel like they almost felt like they weren't going to get another movie in case they don't, and said, let's just put it all in this one. Because there was a lot where it was like they brought in the pirate things that you could build with Legos. Like, they actually had the real kits. And they had like the instruction manuals, and they were reading on how to like build things. So they had the Justice League. I mean, seriously, this is probably going to be a better Justice League movie than the next Superman movie, because I'm really losing faith in that. I keep bringing that up, but it's been on my mind a lot. So this movie has so much going for it. I mean, you've got Batman, Gandalf, Donatello, I think. My Ninja Turtles are fading in my head. Help me, internet. You have the monster from Black Lagoon. You got everything in here. And it's just, there's so much content put in this. You're sitting there watching it, and your favorite part are the cameos, where all of a sudden Batman shows up, and he's like, oh, let's get in the Batmobile. And you're sitting there going, Batman, and then Superman shows up, and he's like, I'm Superman, and I'm gonna fly. Superman! And, you know, the Green Lantern they make fun of a lot. And Gandalf shows up and he keeps doing his Gandalf thing. They even have a conversation with Gandalf and Dumbledore, and it's awesome. So, guys, my final verdict on this movie has to be a 75%. I know it seems low for all the praise I've given it, but that middle act really could use some work. If it weren't for that middle act, I will give you guys this. It's an 80%. Is it worth owning? Absolutely. Own this movie, show it to your kids, show it to your family. It's a fun movie, and I think people are going to have a fun time at the movies this weekend with it. I think the kids will get a little bored with that second to third act, which is why I have to score it lower. You know, gotta be fair. But yes, in my opinion, Liam Neeson and Batman were the best parts of this movie. Go see it for that alone, adults and comic book fans of the world, because it was freaking awesome. Okay, so are you going to see the Lego movie? What are your favorite Lego setups? Just to address it, comment, let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will be here for reviewing RoboCop and some movie news coming up.